going on.
Okay. Man. Excited. What do you think? It's so strange. We're gonna figure that out.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of stuff to figure out apparently because we can't get the camera situation. We got to get
know.
we got to get the phones, everything else. Gosh,
We're gonna figure out the camera angle too.
the camera angles have got to get better because this is nuts. Okay.
All right. Well, welcome.
We're back again. We're further back from the camera. Hopefully you can hear us better.
Yeah.
We had to make some arrangements
See us better.
I forgot my webcam. I was supposed to be doing this easier, but apparently not because I forgot and I was in a hurry and I was tired. So, it dawned on us last week that when we started the show, we realized we didn't even give you guys any description or anything as to why this is happening, why we're doing this, how this came about. And we talked about it. And to be honest with you, this is what, 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say in the making because it was such an off and on process that it was always on, but it just kept going. Things like life, things just kept falling by the wayside. But before we do that, I do want to say this: those of you that searched the podcast after its release and you saw the YouTube shorts and stuff like that, thank you.
Yes.
By the way, thank you very much. That was awesome. We appreciate that very much. We were caught off guard by the amount of people that saw it. We were very excited. That being said, subscribe.
Yes.
Subscribe to the channel. There's gonna be a lot more that drops on there. And then we also noticed that, we got a few views on YouTube, which is great. But please subscribe. Follow us on the channel. Follow us on Instagram. It's the same where it's the same everywhere. Talk is Giraffe podcast, right? Or is it just Talk is Giraffe? Talk is Giraffe podcast. Instagram. What is it? Instagram, YouTube.
Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.
TikTok. We have a TikTok. Oh, I didn't even know we had a TikTok. Great. She does all the technical stuff. Apparently, I'm just here to talk.
He's the
apparently.
Pretty face.
Yeah. We'll go with that. But one of the things we noticed is a lot of people were searching for us. They didn't give the podcast a listen to on Spotify. So not that that's a bad thing. That's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It is what it is. But if you're one of those people that searched us and you didn't listen, please give us a listen, because here's the thing: if you listen, you're going to be entitled. You're going to feel, I don't want to say entitled because that's not the right word, but you're going to feel the need to give some feedback.
Yes,
and
please.
We need the feedback because I have no clue what I'm doing. She has done 90% of the work as far as the social media presence, where the location, and all this other stuff. So I definitely have no clue what I'm doing. So the feedback would be much greater and much appreciated.
Together we can make one successful brain.
One successful brain, yes. There's 2 brain cells and they're both fighting for third place. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But that being said, so not to get back on I just splashed energy drink in my eye.
You did not.
Sorry. This is a professional podcast, by the way. Okay, so sorry. So yes, subscribe, give us a listen, give us feedback, please. And like I said last time, if there's something you want us to talk about, we can talk about it.
Yeah, we're happy to.
So
I'm sure we have a relatable story somewhere.
There's, by some sheer imagination, we will have something. There's just way too much history between the two of us that there can't be nothing that has happened. But there has been. But that being said, I'll do what I did last time. Marie, what do you want to talk about?
Well, to kind of continue on our friendship journey, we decided we would talk about our time in Vegas. But prior to that, as Dylan mentioned, we did kind of want to talk about where this started and how we got to our name and that kind of thing. So maybe we'll start there with the name Talk is Giraffe. If you can't tell, for those of you that are watching, and I'll describe it for those of you listening, but I literally have giraffes everywhere. Like, I'm sure Dylan can attest, I at least have 10 sitting on my desk right
about
now.
10 or 15.
There's-
Everything in this room is connected with the giraffe one way or the other.
There's one in my one on the wall back here behind me, but so that's where the giraffe comes from. And Dylan loves to talk, and he originally thought up doing a podcast. He came to pull one Friday or whatever it was, and said, "Hey, I want to start a podcast." And I was like, "Cool, I'll be your co-host." And I just inserted myself into his idea.
She infiltrated the idea, which I was perfectly fine with, because I'm like, well, I'm good with that, because again, like I was saying before, I have no clue what I'm doing. There's certain topics that I can talk about, but there's certain things that could come up that I would not really have any business talking about, or maybe need some help on. So that's where it started there. And it was just, there's been so many different things that have happened throughout the years that kind of not necessarily delayed this moment, but we just kind of, I don't know how to explain it, because again, we were friends prior to that moment.
Yeah.
And, things that, like, there have been multiple things that had happened up until that point, until we decided that we wanted to do that. So,
yeah.
But I really don't think there was any, like, we always talked about things that we could talk about and things that we could discuss, but there was never, like, a specific reason why we wanted to do this together. Right?
Yeah, it just kind of naturally
it just kind of evolved. Every time we would bring it up, it would get brought up, and then we would have a topic. We would just talk about something random, and then we're like, that would be a good topic for a podcast.
Yes.
And she'd be like, yes, it would. And we just never wrote this stuff down.
Yeah.
So we just decided to do this. And the other thing, too, is I brought this up before we started. We started talking about this, like, at least this was before the podcast boom. This is before, everybody and their mother decided they wanted to have a podcast.
Yep. Everyone and their mother.
Which is great. And don't get me wrong. It's fantastic that you can, with that the freedom is that you have that freedom. But we had talked about this prior, and it wasn't really when we were talking about it, it wasn't really, what's the word that I'm looking for? It wasn't really a
commodity.
A commodity at that time. And things have kind of changed for the better, of course. Now it's gotten so much easier for you to do anything. So I think that's another reason why this came together as quickly as it did now, because of the fact that it just got easier for you to put yourself out there. So, and not trying to sound like we were the ones that came up with a podcast idea, or not the idea of a podcast. It was just at a time when there were certain things that you had to have in order to do it. And it was just not feasible for us.
Yep.
So now it's so much easier for you to do. So that being said, if you're listening, thank you for listening. There's a lot of other podcasts out there that you could listen to, but we greatly appreciate it.
I do want to say, as a disclaimer, anywhere down the road, we don't necessarily condone giraffes smoking cigarettes. It's just, when we came up with this logo so many years ago, obviously was obsessed with giraffes, and Dylan at the time was, it just was...
I was, for sure. I'm not even going to sugarcoat that. Still struggle today, but cut back significantly since that point in time, so I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. That being said, don't really know. I remember. So the idea of the logo of the giraffe was because I like the idea of a play on like an old radio host. I don't know if you've ever seen like a movie where the radio host is in the studio smoking a cigarette, and he's talking to his microphone. I was like, I for some reason that stuck out to me, so I was like, we should do that. That should be our logo, and so we just kind of came up with that, and it fit at the time. It still fits, to be honest with you, because it's actually a pretty cool graphic.
Yes, it really is.
We don't want to see any giraffes smoking cigarettes. Don't smoke at all, because it makes you look like me. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the logo was, that's where it came from, was the idea of an old radio host, and I always liked that. And plus, I've always been a big fan of talk radio before podcast took over.
That's how our name came to be.
Yeah,
so
that's how that started. And again, we had no about what we were going to do, what we were going to talk about. It was, let's just do this and see what happens. So
I'm laughing because when you said that about smoking, like trying to cut back, it reminds me of like one of my favorite things about you is your quick comebacks. And normally when someone walks up to Dylan and it's just like they could be even walking up to ask him a question and he's like not in the mood, he'll just go, no thanks, trying to quit.
That's right.
And it's one of my favorite comebacks in this whole world.
I think when you got introduced, okay, so I'm going to be completely honest with you that I did not come up with that. That's something that a good friend of mine does when somebody's trying to talk to him or trying to do something for him or wants him to do something. He just says, no thanks, trying to quit. And it could be about anything. And I kind of picked that up from him. So, and this actually ties into what we were going to talk about today, because when she was introduced to it, or when she heard it, I think we were in Vegas. We were walking the strip. And for those of you who have never been to Vegas, and first of all, don't go for more than 2 or 3 days.
Oh my
because
gosh, yeah.
If you go to Vegas for longer than 2 or 3 days, one, you're going to end up broke. Two, it's going to wear you out because, they say that New York is a city that never sleeps. I think, isn't that the one? Vegas never sleeps, and it could use a freaking nap.
It could use a big nap.
It could use a massive nap. Anyway, when you're on the strip and you're just walking and you're just trying to take in the sights, there will be guys that are trying to hand you call cards. Yeah. Okay, I was going to say something different, and it's probably not appropriate. So it's basically call cards of naked women on them, and they'll try to come to this party or call this number for a good time. And a guy tried to hand it to me, and I was just like, no thanks, trying to quit. And that had so many different meanings to it. I didn't realize that, and it popped her pretty good.
On the ground laughing so hard from that. It was great.
So that's probably... But yeah, I cannot take credit for that. That is a good friend of mine who says that all the time. But it kind of rubbed off on me. But and somebody, honestly, anybody could be trying to talk to me about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be something. So I don't know if you go to the grocery store, there will be somebody who's trying to there will be some random person who's they're trying to sell AT&T or cable or whatever, and they'll try to talk to you. And again, if I'm in a grocery store, I'm not there. I'm not there to buy internet. I'm not there to talk to anybody. I am not in the mood. I just want to get my stuff and get out. So don't try to talk to me. And they'll approach you, and they'll be like, hey, can you tell me about your internet provider? And I'll just look at them and go, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. And they'll be too stunned to speak, and I'll just continue walking, and they just leave me alone for the rest of the time frame.
There you go. That's how you
avoid that. I don't know if it works for everything. Definitely don't use it on your girlfriend though.
No.
I wouldn't do that. Because that might get you in more trouble. But it works for a lot of stuff, and it has other meanings too if you do that. But that being said, you wanted to talk about our trips to Vegas.
Yes.
Because we've been on two. I myself have been 4 different times. But you and I have been together twice.
Yes.
Right, okay.
I believe so. Or has it been 3? I was thinking about this. Because the first time I went, I wasn't qualified to play.
That's right.
And then the second time I went, was that with...
That was with the same team, but we had different players.
Okay, then
you've been. I mean, as far as I know,
I don't know why I feel like 3 times.
Once you go, and it just feels like
oh my gosh, yeah. So we're very fortunate in the league we were playing in. Our league operator at the time paid our way. I paid our plane tickets, our hotel, our entry fee for this tournament. Some other leagues actually don't get that benefit, which blows my mind. But yeah, so we entered this tournament and went and played pool. And the very first time I went, I was 1 match away. I was a brand new player. I had to have 10 lifetime matches under my belt before our city tournament.
Right, you had to have 10 lifetime matches before you played, and you had 9 by the time we got there.
So I didn't qualify, but I still ended up going. However, she didn't pay for me to. Mm-hmm. She didn't pay my way.
And that's fine.
That's
going to happen because you can't,
Yeah, I understood completely.
Yeah. That being said, this is actually a good time for us to bring this up because it's not long not long there will be other teams that are qualified that are going to Vegas in August.
Yes.
So it's actually kind of funny that this got brought up, is because there's other teams that are getting ready to go to Vegas. So if you're listening, pay attention, because there might be there'll be some cautionary tales, and there might be also some nice little tidbits you can pick up, because if it's your first time, you definitely don't want to. There's definitely some things you do.
We have some tips for you.
That being said, so the way we got there was, we play in a league on a team of 8 people. 5 people play a night. And we were fortunate enough to make our way into a tournament called, at this time, it was called a Cities tournament. Now it's called the World Qualifier for the World Championship, which makes more sense. But it was called Cities. At the time, we played, we won, and we ended up going to Vegas. Now, hotel was paid for, flights were reimbursed up to $300. So, that's always nice. We can't make league operators look bad. No, it was just they were reimbursed to us up to a certain amount. So, but we've been twice, and I think the first time that we went, I'm pretty sure, I feel like this is pretty much for anybody. Is the first time we went, it was fun, but it wasn't fun.
Oh my gosh, a week. The whole tournament is a week long, and once you're out, but you're just in Vegas. I mean, you can make arrangements to come home early, but they put you up out there
for at least a week.
At least a week.
You're in the hotel for a week, and if Vegas is not your vibe, oof. Which for some people it's not. For somebody like me, I don't want to say a degenerate gambler, but who loves to gamble, it's definitely a place for me. And it's also, if you're a people watcher too.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a place you want to be for people watching, because there's going to be people from all walks of life that are there to do whatever, to do what they have to do. And not just pool players, we're talking everybody. But if you're not any of those things and you want to go to Vegas, I highly recommend going, because it's definitely something you need to experience in your lifetime. Yes. I'm fortunate enough to have experienced it 4 different times with several different people. And one of my dear friends who's since passed, I was able to experience it with him. That was amazing. Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. But what was it? But yeah, it is, the tournament itself is a beating, because you can play anywhere between 9 a.m. in the morning, which
24/7 tournament.
Yeah. At the time when we went, it was 24/7. Now they have cutoff times.
Oh, I didn't know.
Which is nice, but once you reach a certain point, you still do the whole sudden death thing and stuff like that. But you could play at, let's say, start playing at 9 a.m. and not get done until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And might have to turn around and play at 9 a.m. the following day.
You just have to be on it.
Yeah. You just have to be ready to go at any point in time, because it's not fun. The tournament, I mean, it's a lot. Hang on, let me rephrase that. It's fun, but it can wear you down very quickly.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that mental fortitude and the aptitude for it, it can wear you out. But
I remember the first time I wasn't playing it, but the first time we went, they paused the tournament at what was it, like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning?
Midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
And they had everyone go outside the hotel, and we watched the Riviera. What hotel was that? I don't remember the hotel name.
Oh God, this was 2016. Wasn't it? It was 8 or 9 years ago. So yep. I think it was the Riviera.
They demolished it. So they set off the charges, and we watched it go. Mm-hmm. And the dust was unreal from that. Like, we were all watching it.
This thing was maybe 10 or 15 miles away. And then the dust
hit us, and we were like, go inside.
Yeah, and then it took forever for the dust. We were just sitting there watching it and talking. We're like, that was kind of cool, and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, just this massive wave of dust hit us in the face. We're like, oh, that was stupid. We got to go inside now.
Dylan's like, thanks, trying to quit.
Yeah, I was like, no, thanks, trying to quit. No, at that time, I was smoking in the chimney.
Just kidding.
Yeah. They paused the tournament, and then I think that was the night we were actually eliminated from the tournament.
I think so.
That wasn't, because that was our first match, and it went until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and we ended up losing because we had the following day off. Okay. And then we played again the next day. And then I think that following day. Oh, that's right, because I remember this. I remember this like it was like yesterday because we played. It was Chicks with Sticks, and I think it was an all female team from Iowa.
Okay.
And these ladies were bad. They were really good. And I remember looking at the score sheet, and this is way before, I guess, there had been any sort of like preparation or anything like that. I don't remember. I just looked at it and goes, should we be worried the fact this is an all women's team from Iowa? And my captain was like, no, why? And I was like, I don't know, because because the other thing too is like in the league that we play in, the ladies have their own separate have their own I mean you can it's sorry
bracket, I guess.
no it's the teams are all mixed as well, but there is a regular ladies league that plays, and I don't know if the ladies are fitted into the bracket or if they have a separate bracket with the world qualifier. That's what I was trying to figure out, because I'm like, if these ladies were in the mixed division, as I was like, wow, that means they're probably qualified on both sides, which I was like, that's kind of scary, because that means they're pretty freaking good. And they were pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
But I think by that time frame, everybody on our team was just like overwhelmed by everything that happened,
Out, yeah.
just because of the fact that it was Vegas and it wears you out.
You walk around. Yourself.
Yeah, you walk around and you do anything you want to. That's another thing. If you are going to Vegas and you can avoid it, don't walk anywhere.
Yeah,
because
you can eliminate it or you win.
If you can eliminate it, or if you look at a distance, if you're on your let me tell you this: if you're in your hotel room and you look across the way and you see something in the distance, even if you can see it, you're like, that's not that far. It is that far.
It is that far, and there's not an easy way to get to it.
There's no easy way to get to it. And that being said, if not gonna walk it, which again I don't recommend you do not take a taxi while you're in Vegas.
Yeah,
because those people, I mean, taxis in general are designed to run up the score on you, basically, so they can get as much money as possible. Uber or Lyft is your best friend in Vegas. Or honestly, even renting a car while you're in Vegas. I know if you can, I would recommend doing that as well. You're going to be doing a lot of driving.
We saved a lot of money that way.
Yeah. Taking Uber or Lyft. I remember the second time I went to Vegas, which again was the following year. We took a taxi. To a store, and the person who took the taxi with us had forgotten that when they take you there, they'll like, we'll wait for you, but they'll continue, the meter will continue running.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, a 2-mile round trip turns into a $100 taxi cab ride, and you're like, what the hell? So yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, the second time, so if we're talking tips, the second time I went, we were playing that local team from Vegas, and I was on the 8-ball, and I literally had it in the back. This was like the last match. We were hill to hill. We were both on the 8-ball. My ball was on the rail, the cue ball was on the rail, and the 8-ball was like, I had it. It was easy peasy, right? For this tournament in particular, they embroider the tables. And the embroidery at the end of the table is like beveled up. Is that the right word?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Okay. And I was on the rail, I was like on that embroider ring. I don't know words. But and like the way that I bridge, my fingers are so small. So I, at the time, was using just the table. Now I've figured out a new trick because this has mortified me so much. But my pole cue got caught on that embroidery and I scratched.
I remember that.
And I lost. That did not eliminate us from the tournament, but it eliminated us from
winning that match. That round.
However, we got lucky because their fifth player didn't show up, and we ended up winning by the grace of the pool gods.
Yeah, we managed to get out of that.
But that frustrated me so bad. I was like, are you kidding? Like, of all things, I would find embroidered.
You would find a way to scratch. Yeah. The good news, so again, So about that actually brings up a good point because I'm guilty of this all the time. The tournament is going to frustrate you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter because it's packed with people. There's people everywhere. You have those a-holes who
Sandbag.
well, I don't want to bring up the whole sandbagging thing, but that I mean, if you're a player and if you're familiar with us, that means you're probably a player. So you know about that. So I'm not even going to bring that topic up. But I will say that you've got those people that because when you're in Vegas at this tournament, there's no smoking allowed inside, but there will be people that will vape inside, and you have those serial vapors who will blow those puff of clouds that takes up just a fog cloud over the whole freaking table, and or you'll be walking back to where you go and you'll see a random puff of, like a random cloud just go up, and you're like, are you kidding me? But there's a lot of people. It's hard to find a decent area to. It's packed. So honestly, the tournament is going to frustrate you no matter what it happens, and it's better I tell you about that now because if you're listening to this and you're going to Vegas and you're like, they said it was fantastic. It's fantastic, but it's still frustrating if you're playing in the tournament. Like I said, I've had the chance to go 4 times, and out of the 4 times that I've gone, I've only played in the tournament I think 3 times, and the 4th time I went was just because a team that I'm on won a destination tournament, and we got sent to Vegas for free. And the 4th time I went, I didn't play in the tournament, and I watched all these other people play in the tournament, and I was like, I found myself sitting there going like, I'm so glad I'm not playing in that freaking tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a people watcher and you watch these people play in this tournament, you can see there's a night and day difference between the people that are playing in the tournament and people that aren't playing in the tournament. And it's not a bad thing because it happens. Because if you're a tournament player and you like playing tournaments, it's going to happen regardless. But there's a night and day difference between people who aren't there to play in the tournament and people that are there to play in the tournament. If you're there to play in the tournament, that's really all you're focused on. And by the time it's all over, you forget. And it's hard to have fun in a setting like that because there's so many people around you. It's so packed.
There's like an unavoidable nervous energy.
Yeah.
Like no matter how experienced you are, there's
always a bit of it, and so I'm guilty of this. So there is going to be some nerves, but in reality, it honestly boils down to excitement. Because you're excited to be there, you're excited to play. It's going to be tested. It's going to feel like nerves because it's the same thing, but you're excited. And if you seem excited, then you're going to play a lot better. Don't be nervous. Be excited.
Yes.
And I think, but yeah, the tournament itself is a beating. If you're playing in the tournament, do not, and I repeat, do not take it so seriously because here's the other thing too. And when you're a team that qualifies to go to Vegas, you are the best in your league. Hands down, bar none, that's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Your team is the best. Regardless of how you got there, regardless of like any of the intricacies, you won by this, that, or whatever, or regardless of how you got there, you're there. Your team is the best. So anytime when you go with your team, you're gonna have the unavoidable, unrealistic expectations of playing your best. I'm here to tell you, because I'm that person, probably not going to happen. Now, that's not true for everybody. That's not true for, you could be one of those people that it turns into, you turn into the best player there. It happens.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reason why people get upset, and I am one of those people because I am definitely a sore loser, and I hate losing more than anything on the face of the earth, and it's probably one of the irks about me. But you go there with unrealistic expectations of playing your best, and that just amplifies your anger and your frustration more, and it just makes you so much worse than you really are. So I'm going to tell you right now, from somebody who's done it, just go there to play. Just do not take. The good thing is now is the tables are actually much better. They've actually changed the tables. They've actually changed over from valley tables to diamond tables, which diamond tables are premium. They're probably the best tables out there. So it's way better. They play a lot better. than what they had previously. So, and they roll a lot faster. They're a lot
Are
faster.
They still
So
embroidered?
no, actually, they're not. They're wooden tables.
Well, good.
And when you say embroidered, I want to make sure I understand. You're talking about that little shiny piece
on the end of the table that
on
they
by
had,
the pockets,
like,
right?
in the like.
It just disappeared.
There's like, okay, so.
What did I just? Oh, I stepped on my shoelace, and that caught on camera. God,
we're having issues. Hang
yeah.
on.
Again,
okay,
this is a professional podcast.
This is the table. Okay, on this rail, like this thick chunk of rail, there was an embroider, like in the middle of each one, like an actual raised.
Are you talking about the counter?
Bump embroidered.
You're not talking about the counter on it.
Logo.
Okay.
That's a world qualifier.
Okay. All right. I'm having a hard time envisioning what she's talking about. Because when she said embroidery, I immediately
such a weird thing. It happened.
I thought she was talking about the little end caps that are on each pocket that have they said they're shiny and they say Valley, but they're like elevated to like slightly above the pockets, and trying to bridge over those is a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, no. This was like they were trying to be cute with putting the logos on each of the tables.
Okay.
And I got caught. It's like a threaded embroider.
Okay. So I do not believe they have those anymore.
Okay.
Because again, they've switched over to tables that are manufactured by another completely different company.
That's good.
That's good. But again, practice on those tables because you're going to see a night and day difference between the tables you play on in your league and the tables you play on in Vegas. You're going to play much faster. They're going to play much looser. You're going to have to get your speed down. Because again, like I said, if you're somebody like me who gets frustrated when they don't play their best or they don't play, or even when they get their ass kicked. Because I get my ass. Listen, I'm really good at getting my ass kicked. By far, by none, hands down. I am really good at getting my ass kicked. And that's probably a frustrating thing. So when you go to Vegas and you're like me and you get frustrated when you get your ass kicked, sometimes, and the other thing too is like, there's nothing you can do about that. If somebody's playing really well, they're playing really well. You know, you get frustrated yourself, you beat yourself up. Don't do that either. Because you're not going to have fun in Vegas if you do that. It's, it's just going to lead to more frustration throughout the day. And it's going to eat at you and it's just going to ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your day. Sorry for the language. But it's a fucking game. That's what it boils down to. It's a game that we're lucky enough to play. If we were all as good, okay, I'm going to summarize it like this. If we were all as good as we thought we were, and I apologize to those who that I've been this with. If we were all as good as we thought we were, we would not be slumming it in the APA or league or bar leagues. And I hope I hope APA players or league operators, if you're listening and you hear that, I don't mean any disrespect by that.
No.
But at the end of the day, these are amateur leagues that we play in. It's not that serious. But again, if we were all as good as we thought we were, we would not be in the APA. We would not be playing in the APA. I guess slumming it's the wrong way to say it. But again, don't just boils down to don't go there with unrealistic expectations, expecting that you're going to play your best and you're going to run at every table. Just
every table is different anyway, and you kind of have to like relearn your groove. So don't skip out on the practicing. Expect to walk in and
just set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Like I said, your team won because they were the best in your league. But again, other teams are there because they did the same thing.
Yeah.
And some teams are going to have it easier than others because of the fact that either they play in a different area, they play in a different location, they play at a different bar that has similar tables. It is what it is. Just play your best, do the best you can.
Have fun.
Yeah. Another thing, too. If you're one of those people that you like to party and have fun, wait till the tournament is over to do that. Because I guarantee you, and this is not about me saying, you're not going to be able to play your best. Maybe you do when you're messed up 90% of the time. Maybe you do. Congratulations. I don't do that. I can't do that because if I'm that messed up, I don't really care. But if you're one of those people who likes to do that, but you're also one of those people that want to play good, I highly recommend waiting till after the tournament to do all of your partying. Because here's the thing. Realistically, like I was saying about going back to the whole unrealistic expectations thing, realistically, you're probably going to last in that tournament maybe 2, 2 days, maybe 3, depending on how your first round goes. You'll have it. You'll if you normally if you win your first round match, depending on the time frame, you'll either play again the following morning or the following afternoon, whatever. If you lose your first round, normally you have an off day, and then you play again. And if you lose that, you're out. If you have that off day in between, do not party. Do not go out and drink and have a good time. Hold on. If you want to do your best, if you don't really care, then by all means do that. You're gonna, and me saying that's not gonna change anything. You're gonna do it regardless. But if you want to do good, you want to put your best foot forward. I highly recommend not doing that, because it's already hard. It's hard, honestly, for me. It's already hard enough to sleep when you're in Vegas. Mm-hmm. Sleeping, when you're in this tournament. Actually, take that back. When you're in Vegas in general, when you get a hotel room, the only thing you do in that hotel room is sleep. You don't spend a lot of time in there. But it's really hard to sleep while you're there because, again, this place never stops running. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Businesses might close, but the casinos don't.
Nope.
And the casinos continue going. So it's really hard to get rest while you're in Vegas. So anytime you have a chance while you're in this tournament, get as much rest as you can, because if you don't, it's going to suck.
Naps are recommended.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Also, like, coming from someone who is, I don't know what the right word is, but dress comfortably. Bring a sweater. What you have to be comfortable in the tournament. Don't worry about looking cute. None of that. Like, just focus on your game and do what you have to do for your team, because nobody cares about the cute shorts you're wearing. Trust me, I've been there. It gets cold in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that room gets insanely cold. By the way, for no freaking reason.
Hint, hint. Order some team jackets.
Yes,
that would be fun.
If you need team jackets, let me know. I can help you out with that.
Yes, Dylan can.
That being said, so yeah, it gets uncomfortably cold in that room with the amount of people that are in that.
You wouldn't think.
With the amount of people that are packed, like with a freaking crowbar into that room, you would think it would be a lot warmer. No, it gets insanely cold in that room.
Yeah.
But let's see what else. Let's see the rest period. Like I said, practice when you can, because of the fact that not only at this time frame do they have tournaments going on, they also have they have these things called mini manias. These things run. I want to say they used to run 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
But now I think they only run up until like 10 or 11 p.m. of that day, and I think they open at 11 a.m. the following day. I can't remember the schedule. It's been I've forgotten, but the practice tables are used for the mini mania so there is a chance you can get kicked off the table, and if there's a mini mania going on, you're going to get kicked off that table. So the earlier you can get into practice, the better. Also, there are little practice areas in the back room, but there's when you first enter into where the venue is being held, there's 3 separate areas. There's the tournament area, then there's the practice table / mania area, and then this is where all the vendors are going to be set up around. And then there's the entry. But when you get to the area where the entry is, if you turn to your right and go around the corner, there's going to be practice tables in that room. And then there's also practice tables upstairs.
Good information.
Everybody knows about that. But those tables are strictly for practice. So you're not going to get kicked off that table. I want to say there's like 10 or 15 tables in the area, so you can get a good amount of practice. When you're on your way to the venue to go to, to the event area, there's going to be a table that's like there's going to be like a random outlier table that's like set up by a bar area. You can practice there too. I wouldn't recommend it because there's a lot of people over there and they all want to get practice time on it. But yeah, you can practice there too. Also, if you've never been, or this is your first time going in a long time, Here's the cool thing. They've also done away with the coin operation.
Oh,
well,
okay.
sorry, they still have the coin operators, but they have it set up on what's called the Pay Range app. Oh yeah, this is the coolest thing. So basically, it's when you download this app, and it's like every other app. You upload it with some money, and when you scroll through, you pick the table that you're on, you hit a pay button, it automatically pays the table, and it releases the balls for you.
That's cool.
So you don't have to worry about carrying around freaking tokens, and I hated doing that so much.
How does that affect like if someone prepay after you and like reserve the table after you're done? Like, because how do you avoid people just staying on the table? Like, keep paying it and staying on it, like...
Well, this is mostly... I mean, as far as, like, practicing goes...
Yeah, like,
if you're practicing, normally you're practicing either by yourself or you're practicing with another person.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're practicing on a Mini Mania table and they say, we're trying to play a game... If the people that are playing are cool, they'll let you finish your rack and let you go, or they'll kick you off. Either way, it's up to them.
I just mean, like, because, like, with the coins, people can just keep pretending like they have a stack. Like, you know how you would put the stack on the end? Set it down and go, yeah. Can people, like, reserve the table after you, like, prepay, and then, like, it'll kick you off and you'll have to wait to come back? Or...
No, it's just you just go onto the app, you find the table that you're on, you just pay it.
Well, that's good to know.
Or you can be like me, who the last time I was in Vegas, I overloaded my app by a pretty hefty amount by accident because I thought I was going to be doing a lot more playing than I did. So my final day while we were in Vegas, I think our flight was at 6 p.m. On the way out going home. So we had all day, and we had to check out. By the way, we had to check out at 3 p.m.
Yeah,
and that sucks. Actually, no, I think it was earlier than. I think we had to check out at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think they did.
And your flight's not till like 6 or 7. And this actually brings up a funny story because I'm going to finish this one and we can go back to this one because this happened to us.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. The last time I went, I overloaded my Pay Range app by a good significant amount, and so if you put too much on your thing on the app, you can get it reimbursed back to you. But I think I had like $10 left, and I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I was like, whatever. So what I did was I went to the Mini Mania event area, and I sat in an area where there's like 5 or 6 tables in a row, and I pinpointed some of the numbers on the table. And while these people were playing, after they finished playing, I'd be like, pay. Oh, you're done? Pay. And I would just keep paying. I was like, I got this game. Don't worry about it. Pay. And I just ran it out. That was kind of fun because people were like, who are you? And I'm like, I am leaving in like 5 hours. And they're like, you can get that money back, right? I was like, it's $9. I was like, I'll make that tomorrow morning whenever I'm done with whatever. It's not that big of a deal. So I just kept paying for random games. And then once I ran out, I was like, all right, I got $1 left. Whichever table finishes first gets my last $1. And they were like, and as soon as they finished, pay.
Who are you?
Yeah. It's like I would just like, these guys are just, or I was like, there would be a practice session going on and I was just watching these guys play and I'd be like, I wouldn't tell them. But I would tell them if like we're in the middle of a mini mania, I'm like, hey, I got this match. Don't worry about it. And so,
that's hilarious.
That's how I finished. That's how and then once I finished it out and once I emptied it, I left. It was out. But back to the whole checkout thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Let's see. So the second time we went, I think I can't remember what we did because I think we all flew together. Me, you. Do we want to mention names? I guess we can. It doesn't matter. If they listen, they listen. Me, you, Colin, your husband, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there just in case anybody is having any questions.
We're so good at introducing ourselves.
Yeah, we're really good at introducing ourselves. So we introduced how we met, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cute." No, that's not what this is. But yeah, myself, her husband, her, and our captain Todd, we all flew together. We all flew together to Vegas. And I think we all either we accidentally or we decided to, but we booked our flights a day after the tournament or the day after we had to check out.
Well,
did we do that on purpose?
No,
or
the tournament went through like this day, and we were like, cool, we'll book to this day and leave that day. And However, our league operator did not tell us that she made the reservation for a day.
Yeah, so the tournament wasn't. It was the hotel wasn't booked past the tournament.
Yeah.
Our time frame. So we were a day short we were
a day short.
We were a day short on the hotel.
Like that, just one night.
Just one night. So I remember, I think
we did not realize this until we were in Vegas.
Yeah, so we booked our flights for a day after the hotel, after like the week. So we booked our flights a week after we got there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were only there 4 nights as opposed to 5 because our flights were the following day. Here we are.
We're like, what do you mean?
We were like, so here we are a day out from our flights, which isn't that big of a deal, but because you can get anywhere. But I think if I'm not mistaken, we were eating and we were like, what the hell are we going to do?
Yeah.
We were like, what are we going to do? Because we had to find somewhere to stay because our flights were...
Yeah, for whatever reason, it wasn't like we got there and they were like, okay, you check in and check out. It wasn't like until we made the connection, like the day before or something, we were like,
the day we checked out. No, it was it was like the day before or the day of we checked out. We were like, shit.
Yeah, we're like frantically trying to find hotel rates, and it's like everyone's there for this tournament, so it's like there's no hotel openings. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? Luckily, we found a good rate at New York.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you haven't stayed at New York, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was actually a really cool. Any hotel you go into at Vegas is going to be really cool, but New York is actually a really cool area to go to because
it was so cool.
They have the roller coaster, which you rode, don't you?
Yes,
I don't do roller coasters.
I rode it.
I do not do roller coasters. I hate them. Can't do it.
Oh, it was so cool.
What was it? Yeah, the roller coaster, and it's New York, so they have different areas that you can stay in. And it's like when you're walking around the casino, it looks like New York.
Yeah, they have like little cobblestone roads, and the roller coaster is made to sound like the subway.
That's right. I forgot about that.
It's so cool.
And that's another thing too. Speaking of which, the roller coaster actually goes through the casino. Like there's a specific area by the slot machines where the roller coaster just flies past you.
It also has one of the most beautiful Starbuckses I've ever seen.
You would know.
The inside of the New York is very, very cool.
Yes. And what was it? Yeah, we booked the rooms. Mm-hmm. And I remember my room. So before that, as far as the whole rooming situation goes, that's another thing. I'll go back to that, but I'm going to go back to the whole rooming situation. If you're going to be sharing a room with somebody, when you go as a team, you're going to be sharing a room with somebody. Yeah. Don't make a big deal out of it. Make sure you room with somebody you can get along with. Take that back. Yeah. If you're on a team, you should be getting along with anybody anyway. But sometimes when you're rooming with people, you learn a lot more about somebody than you really want to.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it's only a week. Don't worry about it. But just be prepared.
You don't really spend, like as you said, a whole lot of time in your room anyway.
But you're going to be rooming with somebody.
Yeah.
So make sure you plan it. Make sure you plan accordingly and you set up your roommates correctly, because that can definitely fuck with your dynamic. I know the last time I went when I was rooming. Luckily, last time I went when we were on a team, the room that we were given, funny enough. Oh, yeah. So for some reason, the room that we were given originally either wasn't...
It was a total crap show when we were all checking in.
We were all trying to check in, and the room they had for us was either under renovation or it wasn't... It wasn't available. But
we don't have good luck at hotels.
No, we don't. So it was... It was a stove, and it was a stove short of being an apartment.
Yeah.
Because it had a lounge area, it had a TV.
It was beautiful.
And it had a really cool area. So luckily there was 2 bathrooms. I'll let you decide for yourself on that. I'll let you come to your own conclusion. So if, I got lucky in that regard. But that being said, you're going to be rooming with somebody, so just be prepared. But again, like she was saying, and like I was saying before, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time in the hotel, or in your room. So it's not that big of a deal. But just be prepared. You're going to be rooming with somebody.
Hopefully you're friends with all the people on your team.
Yeah, hopefully you're friends with all the people on your team. Otherwise, you're going to know somebody a lot more than you really want to.
Yeah.
Which you're going to do that anyway. So.
Well, so the other thing that I would say is don't get don't overhype the buffets and stuff. Like, things are expensive in Vegas, okay? First of all, let's just start there. Like, a typical hamburger is upwards of 20, 25. Like, you are not, even for you yourself, like, me and my husband, so we had a plan for 2 people all the time, but it's one meal is like for 2 people here typically.
Yeah.
I worded that totally weird, but my point is research restaurants around that may be a little like, and obviously Lyft, Uber, rent a car, do what you can to get out of the city just a little bit.
That's true. Yes, actually that brings up a good point. It's like I did not even think about the whole eating experience because you forget to eat while you're in Vegas.
You honestly,
because there's so much going on. You're in the tournament. You sit down to gamble, and all of a sudden it's 5:00 in the morning. You're like, holy cow!
We ate a lot of bagels.
I tell you what. I'll tell you what. What we're gonna do after that, we end this podcast. We will link some of the restaurants we ate at that were actually very good and reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And that kind of saved us a little bit of time and effort because we spent a lot of time at one restaurant at Bagel Mania, right? I'm pretty sure we were there for 5 days. We ate there 4 out of the 5 days.
At least.
We were there multiple times.
So good.
It was amazing.
And it was very decent.
And it was actually very decently priced. So yeah, that brings up a good point. After we're done, we'll link some of the restaurants we ate at.
Okay. We could do that.
And we should do that because I didn't even think about that. But since you're on the subject, go to the store. When
you were gonna
I'll bring it up in a second. I'll bring it up in a second.
Oh no.
I know you want me to go there, but you brought up a whole other subject that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and address it now. Go to the store and get snacks and water and sodas and drinks. Get stuff that you need for the week. That way you don't spend a lot of money. Because I will tell you right now, in that hotel that you're staying at, everything is overpriced. The coffee, the food, anything you want to do is going to be extremely overpriced.
Like, even the Starbucks, like, I typically order the same thing every time I go. I'm very familiar with how much it costs me normally. Mm-hmm. It was at least $2 more expensive in Vegas. And it's a branded, it's like a branded store. So just don't be sticker shocked.
Yeah.
You will.
Don't. There is a CVS across from the Caesar's Palace. I highly recommend. So unless there's another store you can find in the area that you can get to if you're driving, cool. But I highly recommend going to that CVS or a Walgreens or whatever and getting snacks, getting drinks, getting water to hold in your hotel room. Most of the hotel rooms are going to have a fridge in there.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to have okay. All right, that's another thing too. It's not going to have a microwave, so don't get anything that you have to heat up. If you have to take leftovers. You're not. I mean, honestly, if you go to a restaurant, you're expecting to have leftovers. You're not going to have leftovers. Oh no, you're going to have leftovers, but you're not going to have a way to heat them up because they do not have a microwave. Some of the hotels will, but if you're going to this tournament, the hotel you're staying at, not going to have a microwave.
Yeah.
So, and if you have anything you need to heat up, don't.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. So get snacks, anything that's, you can hold in a fridge. Because there is going to be a fridge in that room. 90% of them come with a fridge. But yeah, I would definitely get snacks, get water, get drinks that you can have for the entire week. Because that's definitely going to limit your spending on food because you're going to get hungry multiple times throughout the day.
Also, totally random thought that just came through my head. Account for your time waiting at the elevator. The elevator line.
Yes.
My gosh.
I think so.
Add at least 5 to 10,
Yeah.
probably 10 extra minutes in your schedule for the elevator.
Yes.
Or you can get your steps in on the stairs.
Yes.
But
I don't recommend the stairs because normally. So I think I'm gonna mention the hotel name because you're gonna find it anyway.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be staying at the Westgate more than likely. If you're going to the tournament in Vegas, you're gonna be staying at the Westgate. If you're staying at the Westgate, you're probably gonna be pretty high up as far as like as far as the room situation goes. So yeah, account for the elevators.
15 stories of stairs is insane.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. The elevator situation. Make sure you get on the right elevator.
Oh.
Because if you get on the wrong elevator, it'll take you to your correct floor, but you'll be doing a lot more walking. When you get to the hotel, there's going to be there's like 2 or 3 elevators. Or sorry, there's 4 different elevators. Hopefully they have them fixed by now. Because last year we went, they were having so many issues with the elevator wasn't even funny.
Yeah.
But there's 2 sets of elevators. Make sure you find an elevator area that goes to your floor, and not only goes to your floor, but gets close to your room, because that's also another headache and a hassle that you don't realize.
Yeah, so you like get in the elevator and you're like, am I drunk or is my floor number missing?
Yeah, because then you look at it and go, oh, this one doesn't go to the 16th floor. And then you end up getting off on the wrong elevator, and then you have to trek a whole maybe I'm gonna over exaggerate at least a mile to get to the right elevator just to get to your freaking floor. So yes, the elevator situation. Keep an eye on the elevators, because if you don't get on the right one, it's going to cause a lot more headache. And not only that, but if you can figure out the elevator that's closest to your room and where it gets off on the first floor at, keep that in mind, because that's going to get you back to where you need to go. That's going to get you back and forth to your room faster. Yeah. And honestly, you're listening to that going, oh, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's common sense. It is common sense, but I guarantee you, when you go to this event,
it's gonna take you a hot second.
You're gonna
map it out.
You're gonna realize, oh shit, this is what he's talking about, because you're gonna see these 2 different areas for an elevator, and then there's another set of elevators 15 feet the other way. And if you get on the wrong elevator, it's going to take you to the wrong floor, and it's just going to make getting to your room a lot more of a hassle. And like she's saying, if you've been drinking, if you're just tired, it's just going to make it even worse. Thank God you brought that up. But yes, pay attention to the elevators, and again, if you find an elevator that gets off on your floor and that's close to your room, find that elevator, find out where it gets off at the first floor at, and make note of that, because that's going to save you a lot more time, and you're going to feel a lot more. You're going to just feel a lot more organized. But yes, food, snacks are key. I highly recommend the first day you get there, you go do that and you get that out of the way first, because you're going to be like, that's a lot of money. It's not as much money as you're going to spend on meals, because that way the only meal that you're having is, honestly, the only meal you're probably going to end up having is probably going to be your dinner after you finish playing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to feel like, I'm going to tell you right now, you may or may not feel like eating when like the morning of your turn. If your match is early in the morning, you're not going to feel like eating. I guarantee it. If you're one of those people that don't have those type of nerves, awesome, congratulations. We need to connect, because I have those nerves all the freaking time.
Yeah.
But the morning, you're not going to feel like eating. But yeah, I would get something that you can eat quickly and just get something in your system, because you're going to get like me, you're going to get the jitters. Energy drinks are fine. Just make sure it's not a lot of sugar, because you're going to crash. But yeah, I would avoid in the Westgate, and I don't want to sound like I'm dogging the Westgate. It's not their fault. But in the Westgate, the coffee shop that's in there, great coffee. It's wonderful. It's overpriced, like everything in Vegas.
It's not a Starbucks.
It's not a Starbucks, but it's not a Starbucks, but it gives the same appearance when you go in there. So it looks a lot like a Starbucks.
Yeah, but it is not.
But it is not a Starbucks.
I had to walk quite a bit to get to a Starbucks, and it was a one in a hotel.
I'm surprised. I wouldn't do that. for a cup of coffee, I'm just gonna. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna pay those prices for. It's like $4 or $4 or $5 with just like a small black coffee, and you're like, geez. But again, that coffee shop in the Westgate, they also sell breakfast. When you get off, I guarantee you, when you in the morning when you get off the elevator, that line is going to be at your elevator because it takes forever. B, it's for some reason they're super slow. I don't know what's going on there. On stopping there for food or breakfast because it's not going to happen.
You won't have time
unless you
plan it. I mean, that's
oof. You're not going to get coffee or breakfast there. Mm-hmm. So in the mornings, it's not going to happen. Sorry about your bad luck. If you wake up late, don't plan on doing it.
Yeah.
Also, there's also before you enter into the venue, there's also going to be a food stand. I don't know if that's. I honestly don't know if that food stand. I did
like their hot dogs.
They had good hot dogs. Yeah. But again, the line for that is just as bad. Plan accordingly for that. I don't know if that is part of a selling point for the APA or if they they contract with people. If you can, honestly, it was good, but avoid it. Also, honestly, to be completely honest with you, anything at the hotel that is not as far as food wise, anything at the hotel happen again. Anything that is at the hotel that you're going to, that you're going to pay money for, or anything that is like fast food related, avoid it because it's going to be overpriced and the quality is going to be iffy. Now you might get lucky and something you got was really good, but I guarantee you it's not going to be worth the money that you spent. That could be so I would make sure that you venture out from the hotel. If you want to stay at the hotel, I mean, they have the sit down restaurant they have when you first enter is very good. It is a little pricey.
Remember the name.
I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. There's a Benihana's. There is a Benihana's in that. Well, no, it's not a Benihana's. No, it is a Benihana's.
Yeah.
It is a Benihana's in the Westgate. So, I mean, honestly, I didn't eat there, so I don't know the prices. It's probably going to be skyrocketed.
Yeah.
But there is one in there. If you go to one of the sit-down places in the hotel, you're going to be fine. The food's going to be good. You're probably going to pay a little bit more than you really want to, but if you can't help it, it is what it is.
Yep.
Just avoid any of like the pop-up stands in the hotel because it's going to be like hot dogs and hamburgers, and they're not going to be
for
good.
like $15-20
for like $15-20 bucks. Avoid that because it's boils down to is it's like high priced airplane food is what it boils down to. I hate to say that, and I hate to sound like I'm dogging them, and I don't mean any disrespect by it. It's not their fault. But as far as that goes, if you can, avoid it at all cost because it's just not going to be worth it, and you're not going to like it. I feel like that's the only. I feel like that's the only advice. The advice I can give you. If I think of anything else, I'll do a post afterwards as far as like anything else I can think of. But yeah, we will link some of the restaurants that we ate at. Which honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think we didn't eat at a lot of different places. There was.
Yeah, we kind of
found two cool places that we liked a lot. So there was a third one that's really good that we liked, but we don't have to get into that right now. I mean, we've already named one of them, which was Bagel Mania. Which honestly, if you're staying at the Westgate, it's not a bad walk. It's not a bad walk. It's right across the street. It's on the other side of the convention center. It's not a tough walk, although depending on what time you go, it could be a tough walk.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially in Vegas.
It gets hot.
It gets hot very quickly.
Yeah. And it's a different kind of heat. Well, at least for us here in Texas,
it's a
different kind of heat for us.
Yeah, it's a different kind of heat, and it's not fun. But yeah, if you feel like you can walk there, walk there. Oh, that brings up a good point. As far as Bagel Mania goes, there is I believe it's a 24-hour donut stand. That donut stand that's in there is 24 hours.
Okay.
If you can, get some of those freaking donuts because they're amazing and they're good.
We didn't have one bad thing at Bagel. I mean, obviously Dylan said we went like at least 4 of the 5 days we were there, and we tried something new every time basically, and never got anything bad. It was so good. And for our mimosa fans out there, they do what's it called? Bottomless
I think
mimosas.
it was bottomless mimosas, yeah.
It's honestly, it's worth it more to do bottomless mimosas than to do it by the glass.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, so get a friend and drink up.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good. They usually come with a couple different juices, and then you get to, or you can pick one, and they'll just keep bringing them for you. And it's open container in Vegas, so.
Well, that brings up another point.
Mm-hmm.
If you like to drink, this is the best part. This is probably one of the best parts about Vegas as well. If you like to drink, you can get liquor almost. You can get your alcohol almost anywhere you go.
Yep.
But I highly recommend buying it at a convenience store or a grocery store because you can get it in a grocery store there. I highly recommend getting it there and just doing what you have to do there. Because, let's see, I think, so in the venue, no, this is another alcohol consumption. You know, I was telling you not to do it, but if you're going to do it, here's what I'd recommend. Now, I think when you go into the venue, I think when you go into the venue, you're not allowed to have like open containers or anything, any outside food or drink, I think, or anything like that. I'm trying not to get myself in trouble. Because if you can disguise it, I apologize in advance.
You're probably not the first person.
I was going to say, I apologize in advance to if anybody from APA Nationals or anybody from APA is listening, I apologize in advance. But if you can buy your alcohol elsewhere,
we know what to look for now.
Yeah, if you can buy your alcohol, they don't have time for plan for it. We've got like maybe 2 weeks, and they've got more stuff to plan for. They got 2 weeks. Can get your alcohol elsewhere and make it yourself. Hint, hint. Make sure if you're going to take it to the venue, make sure you disguise it the best you can, because the beers and the whiskey and anything they sell it in there.
Yeah.
But it's going to cost you a pretty hefty penny. Mm-hmm. You're looking anywhere between $8 to $10.
Concert prices.
Yeah, concert prices for alcohol.
You're like, buy a 6-pack for the price of one beer.
You can. You definitely can. So if you're one of those people that likes to get your alcohol, I recommend getting it at the CVS or whatever grocery store you go to, because it's going to be a lot cheaper than getting it at the venue. Oh, and avoid. I apologize again. I'm doing a lot of apologies on this show, but I'm just telling you the facts of what you're going to encounter when you get there. Avoid the shops in the hotel as best you can.
Oh, oof, yeah.
So the souvenir shop, do not buy alcohol or anything that you can't buy. For the convenience factor, I remember, I think I paid, the last time I went, I think I paid $55 for a fifth of Jack. I kid you not. I think it was about 50, but upwards between $55 to $60 for a normal bottle of Jack. Don't do that.
We'll call those airport prices.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Airport prices, yes.
You're paying like $7 for a bottle of water. It's like 12-ounce bottle of water, and just all these crazy things that you only see in.
Yeah. Yes. So, like I said, if you're one of those people that likes to drink, I recommend doing it, if you can, doing it in your hotel and disguising it as best you can when you're walking around. Well, I mean, you don't have to disguise it when you're in the casino, but once you enter the venue, you're going to get stopped. You're going to get in trouble. So
you have to throw it out or something.
You have to throw it out. Make sure. Now, there's not going to be there's to my recollection and to my knowledge, there wasn't somebody at the door stopping you, telling you you can't bring that in here, or vice versa. But if they catch you, they will make you throw it out. So just, if you're going to do it, make sure you hide it properly. But yeah, I do not recommend buying the alcohol. If you can avoid it, I do not recommend buying it there at the event, because it's going to cost you more money than you really want to spend.
Yeah, if you're a person that is accustomed to drinking while playing.
Yes, if you're accustomed to drinking while playing, that's probably going to where all your money goes. So I would highly recommend getting your alcohol in a different area, or I would recommend getting it somewhere cheaper. But that brings up a good point. So if you need to run back to the hotel to get yourself another beer, or have somebody make a run for you or whatever, you gotta be like 2 or 3 or whatever, that's where it comes in. That's where the whole elevator situation comes into play.
Oof, yeah.
Because it's going to save you a lot more time to get back and forth to your match.
There you go.
If for some reason you have to run back to your hotel room for something, I've even heard of instances where players have had to go change their clothes because it wasn't appropriate for the venue.
Yeah, they will stop you. If
they will make you do something different if you have. Goes back to what she said earlier about dressing appropriately. Ensure that you're dressing appropriately because they will make you go back and they will make you change clothes if anything that you have precedes any kind of profanity or any nudity or even the team name. That's another thing too, is if your team name is
innuendoed
by any stretch of the imagination, or if your logo is anything that might be, we'll say, explicit, be prepared to change your name. Because it happened to us.
It did.
It kind of worked out because it made sense for the division that we were in, but it wasn't. But it's not. But yeah, when you're going, make sure you dress appropriately because they will make you change. And honestly, they don't care if you're in the middle of a match. They will make you go, and and vice versa. So your experience could be good. And it could be bad. So that's the reason why we're bringing this up and we're telling you about this, because of the fact that your experience can be good or it can be bad.
Yeah.
Or it could be somewhere in the middle. But these are some of the things that we've encountered, the times that we went, and some of the things that we wish we'd have known beforehand, because of the fact that because once you know these things and you figure these things out, it makes your trip and it makes it a lot easier. Now, the whole tournament aspect, I can't give you a lot of like honest feedback about like, playing your best or anything like that. I can't do that because I'm not that good. I'm never that good of a player. I can't help you in that regard, but I can at least help you enjoy what you're going to. We can at least help you enjoy what you're going to encounter.
Yeah,
and the things that you're going to. At least some things that you're gonna encounter. So I think that's it for the advice portion of it.
Yeah.
So
we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, that covered quite a bit of ground. That was a lot more than I was then up for.
But it's good. It's good information, and hopefully it helps somebody out there.
Yeah, hopefully if you're listening to this and you're like, oh wow, that was really insightful. Again, let us know. The more feedback, again, it just goes back to the beginning. The more feedback you guys give us, the better this show is going to get.
Yeah.
And if you give us more topics to talk about, we can talk about it. And it's going to be easier. But that being said, do we want to take a small break and then come back? Or do you just want to keep rolling on?
Sure, we can take a break.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a pause here. I don't know
how to make that work, but we'll figure it out. And for those of you probably listening back, it won't be much of a long break for you guys.
Yeah.
So...
give us just a minute.
We'll be back.